Driver again, me earns a penny on Uber.
Hello everyone and welcome to the part of the channel where I like to discuss all the latest taxi gossip that's been going on over the past few weeks. Today's roundup is on the following subjects. So we've got illegal use of ghost plates by taxi drivers. We've got the Uber trials going on over in the US. We've got Uber VAT issues going on here in the UK. The Birmingham protests, yet again. Careful what you wish for. And a taxi driver hero. Ghost plates are basically, for those who don't know, they have a special 3mm black acrylic with an additional 3mm black acrylic on the outsides of the text. Don't get me wrong, they look the part. However, as a side effect of this, they're impervious to be picked up by infrared cameras. So therefore, you can basically speed, go in bus lanes, do whatever you like. Do a U-turn, stay in yellow boxes, whatever floats your boat. You will not be registered by any automated system. However, there's a massive crackdown on this because they are illegal. Wolverhampton Council, shock, out of all the councils out there, have started supplying their taxi police with special cameras that will be able to identify on the side of the road. If anyone's found to be using the so-called ghost license plates whilst operating a taxi vehicle, a private hire vehicle, an Uber, you risk losing your license, suspension, and a whopping fine. The Uber trials currently in America have already started causing a bit of a sting and a backlash back here in the UK. It's called the advantage mode. What it basically is, it's a way of rewarding highly rated drivers. Yeah, we all hate that term, but sadly, that's what it is. The reward is simple. It gives you 5% more on top of your fares. I mean, let's be asked, guys, really. 5%, that's 15 pence in every £3. The part that's not so great about the reward is it will offer people more exclusive and leave other people, like hyenas, fighting over trip radar. There's 4 stats that affect whether you get it or not. A lot of people seem to be missing the 4th stat, which I think is probably the most important part of this test. So let's go through each of the things required. First of all, the acceptance rate is 25%. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but a couple of weeks ago, they changed it from 200, your previous 200, to your previous 100. And I think it's part of this. To why? So if you don't accept 75 jobs in 100 offers, you're going to drop below the threshold. Simple as that. Next one is your cancellation rate. In a nutshell, don't accept jobs if you're not going to do them. It needs to be 8% or below. And your star rating needs to be 4.85 or higher. That's a bit of a not so good part of it, because sometimes the star ratings are completely out of your control. But the 4th, and this is where I think it's the most important part of this, why they're doing it, is the CMT rating. Now, we don't have this in the UK, but basically there's a part of the Uber app that monitors how you drive, your braking, your speed, your acceleration. I'm sure you've all seen them type of apps. I think some of the insurance companies use it here, 1 or 2 of them, where they monitor your driving, and if you've got a good rating driving, then they lower your premium. Well, that's a massive thing in the US because the US insurance works completely different than here in the UK. So Uber's paying a whopper premium for their insurance. And I think if they can go to their insurance and prove to their insurance companies that most of their drivers getting most of the trips are actually good drivers, their premiums would be lowered. A lot of people seem to be neglecting this stat, and I think it's probably potentially the most important part of this test. Is it to make people more slaves, like what's been going round? No, of course it's not. They want you to earn money because if you earn money, they earn money. Uber finds itself in court once again. This time, it's attempting to take the taxman to court to recuperate a lot of its money. So it's being charged nearly £1 billion in VAT. Now, a few months ago, Bolt actually won a case where they would only be charged VAT on the profit margin. Uber's claiming it's in the same boat, so therefore it shouldn't be paying that much VAT. This is going to go on for months. My question is, if they win and they get the VAT back, are the drivers going to see any of that? I don't think so. But wouldn't it be nice if all of a sudden you woke up one morning and there was a big fat amount of money in your wallet because Uber's won? This will be good if Uber does win this, by the way, for people, because it'll be taking a lot less off the riders and giving it to drivers. And we should see an increase in fares. I believe, anyway. What do you think? Southampton City Council have approved changes to how their taxi license works. One of them that sticks out like a sore thumb is the fact that taxi drivers now need to have a formal drug test to ensure the safety of passengers on the road. Personally, I think this is a great move and every single council should do it. My daughter of 24 uses Ubers all the time. I don't want her driven round by someone who's coked up. Simple as. There's far too much going on the road for someone to not be coherent of what's happening. The slightest mistake can just cause a crash. Now, I might get a bit of hate for saying this, but I'm only going to get hate from people who do drugs. Anyone who doesn't do drugs wouldn't have a problem with this. What's your thoughts, guys? I really think they should implement this in every single city. One of the taxi drivers comments was, what I do on my personal time has nothing to do with the council. Big face palm for that one. Revoke his license now. You may recall in my last Denny's taxi driver news that Birmingham staged a protest and I showed you some footage of it. They are set to do it again on the 1st of July. Monday, the 1st of July. They're going to be taking convoys again of Bolt, Uber, Uber Eats, all the rest of it, and they're going to completely disrupt the city from one end to the other by blocking tunnels and staging a major protest, trying to get their demands met again. I think this may become a regular thing for Birmingham because I can't see it making any difference to Uber. Why would they care about one little city in the United Kingdom when they've got all them other cities and all them other countries where they're making billions in profit? However, good luck to them. If it does change something, I'll eat me words, but I can't see it, to be honest. Protests in the US have been going on for quite some time and nothing's changed there. This slots perfectly with the next subject. Be careful what you wish for. So in New York, the drivers and the council determined that Uber should pay their drivers for the idle time while they're online. So basically, they were getting minimum wage just for being online. Sounds great, doesn't it? Uber's come up with a combat to this. In the middle of shifts, they're knocking drivers offline because they have too many drivers online. So they're completely limiting in New York City how many drivers can be online at any one given point. So they don't have to pay the drivers for sitting on their ass doing nothing. So you really have to be careful what you wish for, because if that come over here, imagine getting up, trying to go online, and you can't, or you get put in some type of queue system. This next story is crazy. I'm interested to know what you guys would do in this circumstance. So there was a London cabbie who picked up a passenger from Heathrow and took him to his hotel. He was quite jet lagged, the passenger. The cabbie then went to put some fuel in because it was quite slow for him. And then he realised there's a bag in the back of it, in the back of his cab. So he opens the door, checks the bag. In the bag was medication and 6.5 grand. Realising the urgency of the medication, the taxi driver took the bag back to the hotel to give to the passenger. The passenger was completely overwhelmed, made up, and offered him a reward. And the cabbie didn't take a reward and said he was happy to help. I mean, his honesty is just mind-blowing for a start. And then the fact he didn't take the reward, it's crazy. To be honest, I would have took the reward. Would you? Well, that concludes this episode of Taxi News. Episode 3, I'm on now. It's going well. If you have enjoyed it, you should consider subscribing, giving us a like. Catch us in the next one.